If you ever had a bug where a child component mysteriously changed your parent data or where at input updated but the UI didn't, then this video will save you hours of debugging. Today we'll pass data from parent to child using signal inputs. In our poster, application with edge cases, performance tips and rules Angular doesn't tell you. Before we touch any code, let's first understand the real problem. With the old mental model, at input passes mutable objects from parent to child. That means a child component can accidentally change parent data, sometimes without you even realizing it. On the top of that, Angular doesn't always detect deep object changes reliably, which is why inputs often feel unpredictable. Now let's shift to the new mental model. Signal inputs are read-only data streams. That means the parent owns the state and child only consumes that state. There is no accidental mutation, no hidden side effects, and updates become completely predictable. And once you truly understand this model, Angular becomes exciting. Let's see how this works. We are in our poster application wherein we have two components, the header component and the post list component. The post list component is used to display all the posts that we have created inside our postlist.ts file, and that is coming from the filtered post, right? That is being filtered based on the search criteria that we have created from our earlier lecture. Okay, now what I want to do over here is that I want to create a postcard component wherein we will have all this div, all the post data that will be going into that postcard component. Okay, so we'll create a postcard component over here. I'll go open in integrated terminal and create ng generate then component, then the name of the component, that is postcard. Okay, now as soon as our postcard component is created, I want to first have type of this post list into a model. Okay, in the first lecture, remember I have mentioned that this should be coming from a model or an interface. Okay, this should not be mentioned over here, right? So I'll just remove it from here and create a model. Now the model should be coming from a common place because that might be used in multiple places. So I'll create a common folder over here. Now inside our common folder, I'll create the model. The model will be post.model.ts. Okay, so this will be my interface or the model that we'll be using inside our postlist.ts file. So what I'll do, I'll just export interface then post. Okay, so this is my interface. Now inside my interface, whatever variables or whatever properties that we had inside our post list, that will be coming over here, right? The ID, title and the name along with that content and the image, right? Now I'll just format it and we can use directly inside our postlist.ts file. Okay, so I'll go inside our post list and paste it over here and import it from the iPost. Okay, that is post.model. Okay, so now our post is created and we have the type, right? Now what I want to do over here is that I want to remove all this from here that is inside our postlist.html and move that into that postcard component. Okay, so I'll just grab it from here and cut it and then move it inside our postcard component. Okay, so you see we have the error because we don't have any object or any data inside our postcard.ts file. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just use that postcard over here, but before that I want to have all the postcard, right? All the post object that is being used over here inside our postcard.ts file, right? So that post, whatever post that we want to show inside our postcard, that should be coming from the parent component. Here in this case is our post list component. Okay, so that will be coming from a parent component as an input. Okay, so we'll create an input that will be a signal input. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll add just post. Okay, that post will be directly input. Okay, so this is a signal input that you can pass from the parent component, that is your post list component. Okay, so this is how you can leverage the signal inputs, right? Once you have created or once you have imported the input function from the Angular core, so what you want to do, you can directly write whether that is required or not, right? Here in this case, without a postcard component should not exist. Okay, so I want to mark this post as a required field because if there is a no post, that post should not be coming from the post list. Okay, so once I have added the required input for this post variable or post object, I want to mention the type of this post. Okay, the type would be iPost. Okay, that should be coming from the post model. Okay, so I have imported that and I have also added that post. Okay, so now we have this signal input that is created from inside our post card, right? Now I want to pass this thing from the post list component. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll go into the post list component and just write the app postcard. Okay, so now we have the app postcard. Now how will I pass the data? So we can directly add a post object over here. Okay, you see GitHub Copilot is suggesting me that I should use this code, so I'll just add by adding a tab over here, right? So now we have the post. Even if that is a signal input, we'll pass still the same as we had inside our @input. Okay, that is post, and the post object that is coming from the filtered post. Okay, so now we have passed it from here. Now I want to read that, okay, inside our postcard.html. Okay, so we do not have any post object over here, right? So what I'll do, I'll just remove all the post object from here. Okay, so once I remove all the post object, I can directly add the post. But here, as the post is a signal, okay, even if that is a signal input, we want to call a signal function. Okay, that is like this. Okay, so now we are using the post input. Okay, so once we are using the post input, we will just import the missing imports. Okay, that is the ng class. Okay, and now that is working and we do not have any errors in the inside our postcard component. Okay, now let's go into our postlist.html. Here we have, I want to save that postlist.html and same the post list. Now I'll remove the unused imports. We do not have the ng style, ng class over here. Along with the highlight directive that is used inside our postcard component will be removed from here. Okay, and we'll also remove the imports. Okay, this one, and we'll use the highlight directive inside our postcard component. Highlight directive. Okay, so now we have created the postcard component and we have added the input over here, and that is coming from the post list component. Now each of the post list inside this for loop will be having a postcard component. So now let's see if this is still working the same way. So here we can see all the posts that we have inside our post list. Do not worry about the styles because those styles are inside our postlist.css file. Okay, so I'll grab all the post related CSS from here. Okay, and directly move those inside our postcard component. Okay, so I'll just remove that, and inside our postcard component I'll just paste it over here. Okay, and we can save our postlist.css file, and now when I go in our browser, and that is still working as expected, right? We still have all the posts that is coming from the post list component, and all these posts have individual post card component. Okay, wherein we have all the post CSS coming from the postcard CSS component. Okay, here inside our postlist.ts file, postlist is the single source of truth. Okay, and this parent is only a single source of truth, right? You cannot update or modify the post that is coming from the parent component, right? Here we do not have any method on the signal input wherein you can update this input, right? For example, let's see if I want to implement the ng on init. Let's implement ng on init. Okay, now inside ng on init, I'll try to update the post component, right? So let's say ng on init. Okay, so inside our ng on init, I'll just add this dot post. Okay, and now you see we do not have any method to update the post. Okay, and you cannot directly do this. Okay, dot content equals to some content. Okay, this will not update the actual post object, right? Because this is non-mutable and this is read only, and that will be only for display. Okay, so this is what our postcard component purpose is. So to only display the posts that will be coming from the parent component, that is our post list component. Okay, now signals are the functions, right? So if you forget here the parenthesis that we have added inside our post signal input, so your component will not render any data that you have inside our postcard.ts file or the postcard.html. Okay, so you should, as this is a signal, so you should always call this as a function. So what difference we have from the earlier versions of Angular? So @input is now replaced with directly input function. Okay, So if you don't want this input as a required, you can directly remove that. Okay, so this is how you can directly use the object or the input that you have inside your component, even if that is not required. Okay, in my case this is required, so I'll just mark it as required. Okay, so if you do not have any required input, so you must specify the null check over here, right, inside your postcard.html. Now I will also update the post list component with the signals. Okay, here we have the variables. Now I want to convert them into a signal variable. Okay, so I'll just grab it from here. Okay, the post list should be equals to signal. Okay, and that will be of type iPost. Okay, with an array. Okay, and now I'll just paste it inside the parenthesis of the post list signal variable. Okay, so this is how you can create a signal variable. Now we have the post list. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just add a parenthesis over here to read that value. Okay, because reading a value needs reading a signal value needs a parenthesis over that. Okay, over that variable. So now the problem is that we have the filter post, but we have assigned the filter post to a signal variable. Okay, so this will be a signal value. I'll just update it with signal value. Now you see the error is gone, and we can use the filter post inside our postlist.html component. Okay, now let's talk about performance, because this is where signals really shine. Signals are lazy by design. They are re-evaluated only when someone actually reads them, which means there is no unnecessary change detection running in the background. Angular literally knows who reads what, and it updates only those parts. This also means that onPush is basically free now. When you combine signals with onPush change detection, you get optimal performance without having to manually call mark for check ever again. Another important rule is this: the number your child component is, the better your app will scale. When your child components only display data and don't manage state, your architecture stays clean and predictable. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with a few design rules you should always remember. The parent should always own the state. The child should never mutate inputs. Signal input should be treated as read-only data, and you should use required aggressively so bugs fail first instead of hiding silently. If you follow these rules consistently, you will eliminate almost 80% of common Angular bugs. Right now, our child component can only read data from the parent. In the next video, we'll talk back using signal outputs, which are the correct modern replacement of event emitter. If signal inputs finally make sense now, make sure to like this video, comment output if you want the signal output video next, and subscribe for deep dives on Angular signals and modern Angular architecture. See you in the next one.